Welcome to the next episode of Water Park Rangers Let's Play Pikmin. Last episode we were just seeing some of the rare enemies that you can only find specific times and places, and first I'm going to show you this. By pressing Y, you can open up Olimar's voyage log to view his older journal entries. With that out of the way, let's go get the final ship part at the final trial, the last area. Now, this ship part is entirely optional, which means that this area is also entirely optional. You could have easily escaped from the planet, and missed out on a couple of different ship parts along the way. Those were the Nova Blaster, Space Float, Massage Machine, and UV Lamp. There are only 5 parts that you don't need, and the 5th one is here. But it's fun to get, because really, I mean, do you really want to miss out on an entire area? I mean, this is a pretty interesting area. It's really different from all the others, and it's really quite small. I think it's might be smaller than the impact site, though maybe not, because the impact site is more round, and this one is kind of like in a straight line. So it's a very different area from the others, and you do need all the Pikmin types to get it. Or at least you're supposed to, but there's a way to sequence break out of that. But we'll get to that when the time comes. At first, we're just going to take out this first obstacle here, which is this stick bridge, using all of our blues that we have. And there, now they're going to go to work on it. Now, you might have noticed that I got a couple of yellows out there first. Yeah, a couple of candy pop buds there, just in case you need different Pikmin for different puzzles. But the idea is to throw them onto this little bone-shaped island here, then call them, walk up onto this stone ramp, and position the cursor so it reaches across that gap, and then use a jump jet to go up and reach them, or go around the back and use the ramp. Either way, that one's just faster. Now, bombs are usually, in this area, they're put inside these weird pieces of pipes, or whatever these are supposed to be. So get the yellow Pikmin to gravitate towards these bomb rocks, and then throw them back really carefully, make sure they land onto the stone ramp. And then go around and up to meet them. Make sure you bump into them to get them back to your side. Don't whistle or they'll drop their bombs because you threw them. Then carefully throw them back and bump into them again. By now the blues have finished building the bridge, so just call them and get them out of the way. And then with our bomb rock carrying yellow Pikmin, use the 3 bomb rocks to blast apart this stone wall that's blocking the way to the other bridge. Now, I know you could just take the blues and throw them up to the other side, but I figured that it might just be faster to do this next part with reds. I know that there are actually several ways you can do this next part. You can do it without reds entirely if you wish, because there's a way to sequence break. And it's in fact the way that I did it at first, because I was actually kind of clueless as to what exactly I was supposed to do. I'll explain it better once we get a close-up look at the next section. For now, we want 100 reds, and we're going to split this large group up into, I think, a large group of 90 and a small group of 10, which would make a good amount of sense, because it's kind of difficult to get 100 to successfully cross the bridges. The Pikmin seem to have a problem with that. Even if you're swarming with a C-stick, it can sometimes be pretty troublesome. Though this was fixed in Pikmin 2, and in Pikmin 2, they instantly gravitate towards the center of the bridge. Which means you don't have to complain about, how I built a bridge and the Pikmin are still drowning. But that, unfortunately, happens in this game, so just be wary of it. So we'll have them work on this bridge here. And now we'll go back to the other small group of 10 Pikmin. And go to that weird, rusty, well, natural bridge. Whatever this is supposed to be. I still don't know what it is. But throw Pikmin on top of it. Maybe it's supposed to be some old, like, rusty gutter. And then, call them from the side. And then, because there's a wall there, they won't fall into the water. So, walk with Olimar and use the C-stick to move the Pikmin around the edge, so that they can get to the cardboard box. Then press X to dismiss them, and at least 10 are required to push that cardboard box, and we had 10 working on it, so they pushed it out of the way. And at about this time, the Pikmin should be working on finishing that bridge. Now, when I say that this part can be done without reds, you see how there's this kind of, like, high wall to the left? You can throw yellows over that, and then guide them around to the box also. So that's always an option. And there, we finished with the bridge. Now this next part's really strange. You see how there's like a white wall there? Well, I guess I'll explain that first after looking at a couple of the different routes around here. That's just a path that takes you back. Don't try going across a fire bridge, or else Olimar is pretty much going to die. And over this way, in case you need them, you could get the rest of the bombs from that can. You can see the area is really not that big at all. There are also more bombs in the cardboard box. Really, this area might have the most bombs out of all of them. Now we'll stick all these reds on this white wall, and watch how quickly it falls. Like, the walls around in this area are just so weak. It's very strange. Now, carefully, don't touch that green mossy thing in the center quite yet. Avoid it. Go around it, and then attack the other wall to bring it down, and it'll open up a section for more bombs. Now, I'm just showing this because there is a final boss here, obviously. It would be really anticlimactic if there wasn't. And fighting it with bomb rocks is one way you can do it. But I'll just show you what it is. I recommend tossing a single Pikmin to activate it. So yes, this huge enemy is called Emperor Bulblax. Stand clear of him when he starts like pausing like that, because then he's going to shoot out his tongue, his long chameleon-like tongue, and then use it to try and eat as many Pikmin as he can. So the trick is to run in, and this is how I like to do it. I'll explain an alternate strategy you could use. Is to throw a yellow Pikmin and he'll eat it. If it has a bomb rock, then it will explode, stunning him, and then you can rush in with reds to hurt him. But that's not how I prefer to do it. What I do is I dodge the tongue by sidestepping. Of course, as soon as I say that, he eats a Pikmin. And then I throw them at the kind of the cheek area, I guess you could say. That's generally how I prefer to do it. That way I don't have to sacrifice Pikmin. I don't like having to sacrifice yellows. Oh, wow. Okay, we dodged them. Yeah, I should mention, those are his main two attacks, using the chameleon-like tongue, so stay out of the way of his front, because that can just, like, eat huge amounts of Pikmin if you're not careful, and it does a lot of damage to Olimar. And his other attack, as you've probably noticed, is when he takes damage, or if there's anything underneath him, he'll do a short hop and squash everything under there. And that can kill pretty much everything there, so be very careful of that. But we're doing pretty well so far. Like, we've got a third of his health down just using this strategy. Now, using bombs, this is one thing that I've heard, is that you can use yellows and throw them perfectly with the bombs, and they'll just throw the bomb at his tongue when he tries to eat them, and it'll hit the tongue back into his face, stunning him for even longer, and the Pikmin doesn't die. Unfortunately, I'm not that skilled, so I can't really pull out that technique to show it to you. So we're just going to have to make do with this strategy, which I think works fine. Only we're losing a couple more Pikmin than I would have liked. Oh, and of course, especially if you're using this strategy, always just go in with a small group of reds. There are some people that I don't think really understand and just go after bosses with huge amounts of Pikmin, thinking that they'll just be able to do so much damage to them. But the truth is, when you have a huge amount of Pikmin and you're fighting a huge enemy, their attacks are designed specifically so that they can eat or destroy, in other ways, huge amounts of Pikmin at once. And so a small group will be able to avoid these attacks much more easily than a large one would. For instance, I was coming in here with all 100, trying out this strategy. There's no way that I would be able to position them so successfully on the side of Emperor Bulblax to throw them at him. We would lose many more than I'm already losing. So that's the basic gist of it. Oh yeah! Now that we've damaged him about like 2/3 of his life, he starts doing this. Even for something so huge, he could just take a huge jump and like smash everything underneath him, and it's a homing jump, of course. He'll follow you. So from now on, every time that he's about to do an attack, it could either be the tongue attack, or it could be a huge jump. So keep that in mind. You'll know it's a huge jump if he kind of like squats down and then his eyes like bulge out like that. It's a pretty good visual cue. And there's one last thing I should mention. I almost forgot, although this is very important if you're using this strategy, is that you should really try and call your Pikmin off before the Bulblax hits the ground. Like I tried to do there, but I failed. Like every time that you attack him, obviously he's going to try and hop to shake them off. So the key there is to call them off before he hits the ground. Basically like what you do with a Wollywog. And I'm not doing so well against him. I'm doing a little bit worse than I usually do. Another thing that you can try is that while they're attacking the side of his face, I try and get Olimar to stand in front of him so that it tries to lure him into doing another attack while the Pikmin are still attacking him, so that they can just damage him more before he shakes them off. It's basically the same thing I try to do with the Burrowing Snaggart. Is when Pikmin are beating it up and latched onto it, I stand in front of it to try and get it to use an attack. That way, the Pikmin just have more time to damage it before it can shake them off. And for some reason, a Leaf Pikmin decided it would be smart to follow us in here. And it's actually a pretty bad idea, considering you do need a bit of speed to evade that attack. Though it's much faster in the second game, I might add. So far we've lost 10 Pikmin against it. But not too bad, considering it's almost defeated. And let's see if I can... Yes, see? If you stand in front of it after you've thrown them on, there's a chance that you can get it to have a second attack, letting them damage it for even further. And I probably shouldn't have thrown them on it, considering it was about to do a huge jump. Yeah, that really screws up my strategy. That didn't go too well. Alright, let's just try again. Whoa, whoa! That jump came out of nowhere! Ah, damn. Alright, we need to go back in. Yeah, the backside is completely invulnerable, as you probably would have guessed. Otherwise, there would be no reason to attack the face, and the feet can take no damage either. Wow. Now he's jumping around a lot. Okay, there's our chance. Now getting in a hit's going to be a rare commodity, so to speak. Just a little bit more, though. There, that should do it. If I can get him to get into another attack. Oh. Just a sliver left. Come on, they always stay alive with so little HP. No, just a huge... Yes! They defeated him during the huge jump. Wow. What a save. Whew. Emperor Bulblax is defeated. And there's the final ship part. That piggy bank. At long last, I found the final part. My secret safe, and it's as full as ever. How glad I am that I've persisted in my search without losing hope. Now I can leave this planet without any regrets. Maybe I'll even stop and pick up some souvenirs for my wife and kids back on planet Hockatate. I love how casual he is about all this. But yeah, that's the final boss, and I guess we did alright. Lost more Pikmin than I would have liked. I would have liked to not lose 19, but okay. Well, there's not very much time left today, so let's forget about those pellets. Sorry, Pikmin, but there are no more ship parts to get, and you're pretty much just gonna go almost extinct by the beginning of 2 anyway. Spoilers! Alright. Well, the last part's on its way back, so we might as well bring out a couple different colors of Pikmin so that they get to witness this historic event in the history of Pikmin. Some yellows as well. And you can actually get a ton of Pikmin to carry this ship part. You can have up to 95 carrying it. I don't know why they didn't go for the full 100. A little bit odd. Maybe there was something wrong with the programming. Like there's a limit to how many Pikmin should be able to carry something. Whatever, at least we have it. Part number 30. And the Dolphin is complete. In every sense of the word. I've finally recovered every ship part. Now I can return home to Hockatate. Yay! And now our ship looks super special. Yeah, when I look at it from that angle, and look, the top straightens up too, is like the final thing, just at the very top just straightens up. And he jumps like at the beginning.